Hi guys, Aceface back with another video for you, and I've got another battle report. This is a battle report for the No Retreat free tournament that I'm attending very soon. Please do go and check out SM Battle Reports. There will be a link down below. Great page where you can check out lots of glossy battle reports, beautifully painted models, nice narrative, and really good page to check out. So we're playing a test game for it. The missions, they're slightly different, so there is a primary and a secondary. So we have got Cleanse and Control as the Maelstrom mission, and we are playing Purge the Alien as the primary mission. So I am again playing my good friend Sean.
Hello again. Do you want more?
I'm just going to keep going to silence, see if I get any gold from him.
That's what they say. An interview isn't going well if you don't answer the questions. The reporter will just stop.
I'm just going to keep going, see if this gets uncomfortable. But yeah guys, so Sean's back. He's bringing his Mech. It's slightly different force today. So what's the formation called? Oh, you're not bringing that actually, are you? Yeah, you're not going to bring that. No, okay.
Just a normal CAD, isn't it?
So yeah, so it's a normal CAD. So he's got...
Change it a bit.
So he's got the Dominus, obviously rocking as the Warlord. Then he has 3 units. Oh, three units of grav.
Destroyers.
So 3 units of destroyers, all with grav, very nasty. And then he has 2 units of robots. They've got the heavy phosphorus. Yep. Heavy phosphorus cannons.
These two.
Yeah, so even though they're not on the model, he's still got a little bit of work to do on his army before we go to the tournament. But they've got twin-linked phosphorus cannons, so really lots of shooting, lots of AP3, pretty nasty. And then the knight, and he has got the auto cannon. He's gonna rock with the chainsword as well today.
Yeah.
Just because it's the more viable option, we believe. So that is Sean's 1750, because they play 1750 in SN. So 1750 points of Mech. And then we'll go and have a look at my force. Right guys, so my 1750 points of NIDS. Again, you can't do dual CAD in this style, so I can't go for my normal dual CAD and have the 4 Flyrants. So we've gone for the Leviathan not formation, but the Leviathan CAD, so I can have 3 Hive Tyrants, which is pretty cool. And then we've got in Troops Choice, we've got 2 Tervagants, both with crushing claws even, and 2 units of Termagants. So 1 unit I've deployed on the table, the other is in reserve. And then I have the Malanthrope, and then last but not least 2 Morlocks that are getting ready to burst on up. So I've got nice psychic powers, so I've got a couple of catalysts in there, a Warp Blast, a few Paroxysms, so some tasty little stuff there that I can definitely do some work with. Being kill points, I'm a little bit up against it because Sean has got incredibly small model count, but that will potentially be a problem, but we'll have to wait and see. It should be a really good game. At the moment, Sean is going first. I will try and seize the initiative in a minute, but yeah, it should be good fun.
Right, go.
So I'm going to try and seize the initiative, guys. Seize the initiative. So if we get 6 here, it could be quite good. We'll have a go. Here we go. See that Aceface? No, 2. So we go on to turn 1 for the Mech. Okay, so end of movement, everything's come forward. It is night fighting, which is going to give me a nice tasty 2-up save of pretty much everything. Most things are going to be in range. The stuff over the far side won't be. The quite good thing is I rolled the Warlord trait where he's going to have to take pinning tests on all of his units. He's only got 3 units that he can take pinning tests. Everything else is fearless. He's just done one off camera, and he's passed the pinning test on that, which was not a good one. I really wanted that one to fail. He's got 2 more to do, so we'll have a 10 on the Warlord one in the middle. I'm guessing he's leadership 10, isn't he?
This guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll do on him.
He's good.
He's good, and then the one over this, so it shouldn't really matter for them.
Yeah,
they're good anyway. So no pinned units, and we'll go into the shooting phase. Okay, so the end of shooting phase and also the end of assaults. So as you saw, none of these units were pinned. Very little was in range, so decided the robots was best to run them to try and make up some extra ground. So they've run into the ruins there. These guys unloaded onto the spiked Hive Tyrant, but I rolled all my saves. Obviously a 2-up helps, but I rolled really hot, so didn't lose any wounds there. And then the big guy, the Knight, unloaded on his Gatling cannon into the Malanthrope. Didn't roll so hot with his hits or his wounds, but again I made all my saves, so no wounds, no damage done. So as far as objectives into the first turn, Sean scores secure objective 1, he's holding it with those destroyers there. His other 2 objectives he needs to try and get are kill the Warlord and kill something in assault. So none of them happened, but he'll discard the kill something in assault, so we'll get another card next turn, and we'll go into Tyranid turn 1. Right guys, so end of movement phase. So I drew some really nice cards. So I've got hold objective 5, hold objective 4. 5 is there, 4 is in the ruins, which is really good. And then I've got overwhelming firepower, which is try and kill something in shooting phase. So all the tyrants flew into the sky and are aiming up against those grav guys down in the corner. Everything else came forward. The termagants got as close to that terrain as possible. They're hoping for a good run to get in there. Probably looking for about a 3-inch run. We'll do them to get me in range for that. The termagants bust across here. He's basically 1 inch away from holding that objective, so a bit of a run there and he'll be in there. Malanthrope stayed still. This Tervagon's come to one side. Obviously he's to make sure that he can get in range to use some psychic abilities onto these guys over here. So pretty good. Now we'll see what happens as we go into the psychic phase. Right, so a pretty successful psychic phase. So I've cast the paroxysm on the robots, so they're -3. Sean tried to get rid of it but didn't manage to get it off, so that's really helped me. So they're really going to be struggling against anything, so they might as well shoot in the sky now, to be fair, because they're just going to be hitting on 6s pretty much anything they shoot at. And then we got Feel No Pain on this guy, and then all the Hive Tyrants, because they've been casting on each other. So two lots of catalyst means that basically 4 monstrous creatures get Feel No Pain, which is tasty. And that was all my psychic powers, so very successful turn. And we'll see whether we can do any damage to this Admech army in the shooting phase. So everything for Sean's army has got a 2-up save as well. So just as I shook off all the wounds in the last phase, we'll see whether Sean can do the same in his. Right, so end of shooting and the end of the turn, because I don't have any assaults. So the Flyrants all shot at the destroyers, as it was the only thing they could shoot at and was the primary target to try and get first strike. Sean pretty much returned the luck. He did pretty well on his saves. He rolled an absolute bag load of 2s to save him going down. So he only lost 1 in the end, which was not too bad. I think statistically I probably should have taken 1 more. I think if I'd taken the unit I'd have been lucky. But the big thing was he passed his leadership. So their leadership 8 and he rolled an 8, so they stayed in place. So they're still in the game. Obviously the Flyrants are coming up. Other than that, I made my run move to get onto this objective. And this guy made his run to obviously make sure he got on that objective. The Malanthrope still giving his cover save to everybody around, and that's more or less it. So we go into the next turn. I did score both my secure objectives, so secure objective 5 and secure objective 4. Overwhelming firepower I didn't manage to do because I didn't take out the destroyers, but it's a good start as we go into Admech turn 2. Right, so end of movement phase for the Admech, aggressive stance. Sean is coming up into my grill. Both Knight and the robots are within charging range. Everything else is kind of approaching, and there's quite a lot of line of sight and range is now being met. So I definitely will see a lot more shooting on me this turn. He's activated his shrouded for this turn. When he doesn't get shrouded, it's stealth because of his amount of units, but still will give him a tasty save in ruins. He needs to kill something in the shooting phase, and he's also holding his objective that he needs. He still needs to kill the Warlord, so he's got some achievable objectives as well, and we go into the shooting phase for Admech. Okay, so end of the shooting phase for Admech, and I think I've been probably more lucky than Sean's been unlucky. My dice have been pretty hot. I've been making all my saves, particularly on my Feel No Pains. So all the Grav guys shot at the Tyrant there at the front, and I jinked, but didn't take any wounds. And then the other destroyers also shot at the other Tyrant. I jinked, but again didn't take any wounds. So all Flyrants on full strength and don't need to take grounding tests, which is nice, but 2 of them will be snap shooting, which is a bit of a pain. Then over here, the robots shot into the Malanthrope, but I made all my saves there. And the And the robots over here shot at the big guy, and I did lose 1 wound. So in all, only just lost 1 wound. The knight also tried to shoot at the tyrants with his autocannon, and again, no damage done, which is good for me. The melter gun from the knight shot into the gaunts just because he's going to try and charge him, and he didn't want to kill him, and he didn't. He rolled a 1 to hit, so that's that. So after that, got off pretty lightly there. So we'll see what happens now as we go into the assault phase for Admic. Okay, so end of the assault phase. So the knight, which was the big deal, didn't manage to get into the assault against the gaunts, but the robots did make a big charge and stormed in against them. Obviously, because they're -3 weapon skill, they find it really difficult to hit anything at the moment. He did bring down 3 in all, so 3 gaunts went down, but obviously they're well in range of the synapse creatures, so they're not going anywhere. They can't hurt Sean back because majority toughness is 7 and my strength is 3, so no poison there, so there's nothing I can do. So we're just stuck in there, but we'll hold him up for quite a while. We'll at least until the knight comes in. He will start clearing things out, but it gives me a bit of room to either move away or just kind of block him a little bit. So we'll sort of see how we go as we go into Tyranid turn 2. So end of movement phase. So basically the Florence will come up. Those guys have Vector Strike the guys over there. They're actually not flown off. They're going to flow off in a minute, but just took him off the board just for ease. This guy here, he's moved in between. He's got range on both 2 units. The Gaunts have come up from reserve. They came in. One of the Morlocks came in, which we'll cover in a minute. The Turbogun bust through into that terrain. These guys obviously just consolidated in, so that's where they are. The Turboguns come around the back to try and have a go at the robots. Might be a dangerous move, but if we can proxy them again, then we can get some easy hits on. They'll go down pretty quick. They don't have feel no pain, so we can break through their armour quite tastily. So we'll see how we get on there. Other than that, the big mistake, well not mistake, but the big downer was I drew Kingslayer and I drew this objective down here. So I decided to go all or nothing. The Morlock went up here, but I made a bit of a scatter and scattered off. So unfortunately, even though I am contesting that objective, I didn't take any damage on the destroyers at all. And now I'm in range of basically every bit of shooting. So that Morlock will absolutely die next turn. There's basically nothing I can do about it, which is a bit of a killer. I'll run into that ruins and run into that little bit of terrain there, try and get a bit of a cover save. But that's basically all I can do. It's pretty dire. So there's, I think that's 1 Morlock down, unfortunately, and that's the risk with them. Other than that, that's pretty much it, and we'll go into the psychic phase. In the psychic phase, and it could have gone better, to be honest. So 2 Feel No Pains cast, and no Feel No Pains made. So the Hive Tyrant that's going to stay on the board will not have Feel No Pain, and neither does this guy who wants to get involved in combat, which is big. But these guys here did get Paroxysm, so they're -3 weapon skill, which will help me cause some damage, but I didn't really want to take anything in return. I will potentially now. We'll see how we go as we go on to the shooting phase for Tyranids. Okay, so end of the assault phase, not great. So Turbogun came slamming in. I did take a wound off the robot, but that's all I could do. Didn't hit very well. It might have been a bad move, but just, you know, ultimately I can do some damage with them paroxysms, and if the knight doesn't make it in, which he probably should do, then I'll be able to do some damage. If the knight does go in, then, you know, essentially he'll be putting me in a bit of trouble, but we'll see how we go as we go on to the movement phase for Admic. Right, so an eventful assault phase. The knight managed to make the charge, going in against the Turbogun. That was always going to be the case. I couldn't really avoid it, but I thought we'd try and put some damage on the knight. Maybe a bad move. Should have probably hit him back a little bit, but it was. I think it was worth a chance. So he went in there. The other thing to sort of mention in the shooting phase, I should have really mentioned first, so Sean's shooting was atrocious. Everything shot pretty much at the Hive Tyrant, and only managing to do just 1 wound, and I did come crashing to the ground, but I rolled a 1, so I didn't get wounded, so I'm on the ground with 3 wounds, which is pretty tasty, and that was really diabolical shooting from Sean. Don't know how he managed to do so badly. He did manage to easily take out the Morlock just with 1 unit of grav, but that was always going to be the case. In fact, he didn't even roll that well then, to be fair. I almost hung in there with my 6 wounds, but he just took too many wounds, so he went down, but that was always going to be the case. And then in the assault phase, as I said, the knight came rolling in. I did hit him first, he went through terrain, and I did actually get an explode result with the crushing claws. Very, very reliable those are. And so he did actually take 3 hull points, so he's half strength, which is pretty good. Then he came crashing back with his D, and he only just barely took the Turfgun out, and then stomped, but fluffed his stomps with basically a double 1. So no luck there. Again, the guys that are paroxysmed didn't really manage to do much to their little guys, but they won't be paroxysm next turn because the paroxysm Turfgun is now dead. We will have one paroxysm potentially coming from the Hive Tyrants coming back in from ongoing reserve, but that's definitely a good thing for Sean to have one of those out of the way. So all to play for. It's very interesting. The first 2 kill points do go to Sean. He's got 2 kill points for killing both my Turfgun and killing the Morlock. Yeah, so 2 points there. Did you get any score or any of your objectives in that? You got
killed a unit in the shooting phase.
Okay, and did you get any held objectives? You didn't, because you've got hold objective 4 twice. Yeah. Okay, so you didn't get that. So you got another one. So that will probably bring you to a draw for Maelstrom points. So it's pretty close. We'll see what happens as we go on to turn 3 for Tyranids. Right, so end of movement phase. I did manage to pull the objective to hold objective 6. So very, very tempting with the Morlock coming back in again. I thought, well, we might have a go, see if we could try and do some damage with that and grab that objective. But the temptation of potentially going for the Warlord and trying to weaken that unit was too great. So the Morlock came back in here. Well, not came back in, this was the other one. It came back up, I did get a direct hit. I took out one of the Grav guys and I didn't manage to do a wound to the Warlord. Sean decided to put both the other wounds on the Warlord and he managed to tank them with his Invon and his Feel No Pain. So just one guy done, and they did pass their leadership test as well. So other than that, basically I moved on up. So the Hive Tyrants came back in from reserve. The one that was down on the ground just jumped forward to make sure he's in range for a charge. These Gaunts rallied around here. The Mallenfrobe made sure that these guys are in Synapse range. The Warlord has run up the side. He's going to see if we can make some distance, potentially do some spawning. We'll see how we go. And as I said, that's where the Florents are. So the Morlock, after coming back up, did mishap. He did survive. He's gone back into ongoing reserve, which is handy for late game. And now we go on to the Psychic phase. Right, so end of Psychic phase, pretty good. So the all of the Florents have got Feel No Pain, so is that Turfgun, which is handy. And we paroxysmed these guys again, and again rolled a 6, so they're really, really reduced down. The Destroyers over here I tried to horror, but didn't get it off successfully. I failed to manifest it. And that's all we've got to do as we then go on to the shooting phase for Tyranids. Right, so end of shooting phase. We took one of the Hive Tyrants at the Lone Destroyer. He died. All the rest of the Florents went into the Warlord's unit. Lost another guy there, so he is just down to 1 Destroyer and the Warlord. The run moves, the Warlord carried on up along that side there, and that's pretty much where it ended for that. So, and also run the Gaunts out a little bit and readjusted the Mallenfrobe again for maximum synapse. And now we'll go into the assault phase. Right, okay, so end of the assault phase. So the Tyrant made it into the assault just, and he won the assault. But he only actually, because he's really, really tanky as the Warlord, he only lost a wound, and I didn't manage to overrun him in combat. So we're stuck in there, but that's the right thing for me. I don't want to be out in the air because otherwise I'd be dead. So we'll absolutely take that, because hopefully we should get him in the next turn. The other thing that happened was, of course, this guy now is going to wreck through his Gaunt slowly but surely. Killed another few, stomped out 5, but the robots only killed 1 again because they're neutered because of the paroxysm, which has been very, very handy. And obviously these guys are all locked up. So it's a pretty good turn for me all in all. I'm quite happy with that. Very, very satisfied. We're causing some damage, and we're clearing things out of this side of the table. So pretty successful. We'll see what happens now as we go on to turn 3 for the Admech. Okay, so end of the shooting phase. So not a lot of shooting. The robots have eyed up a charge on the Tyrant to try and help out their boss. and obviously these guys were all caught up in combat still. So the only thing really could shoot with the grav guys. So the grav guys did shoot into this tyrant, shooting through ruins. So I still got my 4 up, didn't need to jink, which was beneficial. Only managing to do 1 wound, and I did pass my grounding test. So I'm in the sky. I actually would prefer him to be in the ground because I want to start to actually try and get some of these things potentially into assault. But being on full ballistic skill, that's really handy. So all in all, I won't complain about that too much. Sean has gone for the Electromancer, which means he's going to get lots of free hits with his special ability. So that's going to be quite handy for him. He potentially will clear out some, or if not all, the gaunts this turn. And from an objectives point of view, he's got Witch Hunter, which he won't do. He's unlikely to kill the Psyker this turn unless the robots make a big charge. And he's not killed anything in the shooting phase. So it's been quite a good turn for me so far, but we'll see what happens as we go into the assault phase. So ended the assault phase for the AdMech. So over here, even with all the special Electromancer, still not managing to clear him out. The Knight just keeps rolling 1s. In fact, Sean, looking over there, he's looking pretty happy. You know?
Worst dice roll I've ever had.
See, I think I've got a bit of the luck vortex going on here in my place here. So we're actually sucking the luck out of Sean. He is rolling absolutely disgusting. It's horrendous to see, to be fair. I'm absolutely getting off lucky.
Got my stolen dice. These are the dice I steal off people as I go through tournaments. Look, that's that pink one. West Open. This guy, I must have got 2 off him. 3, he got it good. He's wondering where all his dice are.
Shocking, Sean, shocking.
This is the only upside to this game right now. I'm reminiscing over stolen dice.
So Sean's in trouble. Well, to be fair, he's not. There's a lot to play for. He's still got a lot of dangerous stuff, but his rolling has been atrocious. So the dice have gone out and the new dice are in. So we'll see what the stolen dice bring on the luck as we go on to Tyranid turn 4.
Let's go.
Okay, so end of movement phase. The Morlock came in here. I was speeding up that objective. Bit of a scatter, so I'm off there. A good run and I can get in range, but I probably will need a 5 or a 6, so I might not get that objective this turn. The Flyrants have all turned round. They've gone that way. We've got some Psychic Scream in there. Potentially we can cause some damage to those last really painful Destroyer unit, because once they're gone, I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable. This guy's obviously still in combat. I need to try and kill him this turn before he regains a wound again. It's pretty tough going. He's very tanky. The Gaunts have come along here, just making a bit of a wall between the Malanthrope, and just make it very difficult for him to chomp through units quickly. There's nothing I can do about this one. I want to stay on that objective, but it's going to be difficult because if I don't get the right rolls on, and to be fair, I might have even screwed myself out by being a little bit out of range, but I need to try and go for the kill for the Destroyers, so I might just have to risk it and hope that Sean carries on rolling the way he's been rolling and I manage to stick a couple of Gaunts in there, but I might not get that one. We'll have to wait and see. And then the Queen Bee, she's just made a right way up there. She's going for line breaker, but also maybe dropping some Gaunts off in the way. We'll see how we go. She's in quite a safe place at the moment, but we'll see what happens as we go on to the Psychic phase for Tyranids. Okay, so another successful Psychic Power phase. So the Tervigan did Full No Pain on the Warlord, not the Warlord, on the other Tyrant that's in combat. And then this one then did Full No Pain on to the guy that's down here. And then we did Psychic Scream from this guy into the Destroyers and killed 2, which was very good. 4 wounds off is a good return, so we'll take that. They didn't run, they stayed put, but that's reduced them down quite heavily, so we could hopefully do some damage again in the shooting phase. And obviously this guy, having Feel No Pain, is a big bonus. Expect these guys to fall now, but we'll go into the shooting phase for Tyranids. Okay, so end of the assault phase, not particularly good for me. He's proven very resilient, is the AdMech army, if I can say it. So the Knight and the robots took out the Gaunts. Thought that would probably happen, which meant that I couldn't take that objective, which is a bit of a kicker. And then they've run over here. Obviously they're now getting ready to try and take out these Gaunts and get through to the Malanthrope. Up here, this Hive Tyrant still, even with sort of quite a few attacks and hitting on 3s, I still can't take out his Warlord, which is a killer, and anything but a 1 and he'll regain another wound, which is a kicker. So that's pretty bad. Obviously I did take out all of the rest of the Destroyers, so they're all gone, which is handy, and the Morlock ran onto that objective to hold that objective, so that's pretty handy as well. So not a bad turn, but I really would have liked to have taken that Warlord. If I'd taken a Warlord, it would probably be game over, but the fact that that Warlord's hanging in there is definitely giving AdMech a good opportunity to still take this, and they should, whether it takes them 2 turns, I'm not too sure whether they'll get in there, Obviously we are now on turn 4 for Admech, but they've got an opportunity to get through there, kill another couple of units, which will put them in a strong position. So it's very much all to play for. It's very, very close as we go into Admech turn 4. Okay, so end of movement. These guys are ready to where they need to be. The robots have moved up to make sure they can assault the Tyrant. Probably going to need about 4-inch range, so they should get in there, but Sean's rolling's not been hot. So he's got a few options. We'll see what happens as we go on to the shooting phase, and we'll run into the assault as well. Right, so things have swung quite nicely for the Admech in that turn. So they've cleaned up the gaunts, and because of a lucky stomp, they managed to clear the Malanthrope as well, consolidating onto that objective. So really, really good for the Admech down there.
The one and only 6 I needed, but a stolen dice.
So he's feeling good about himself. But apart from that, that is about it so far.
Tell him how I cheated, John.
He cheated, so no. So Sean was rolling both his stomps at the same time, you know. So it's, but it's fine. We rolled for it as gentlemen do. And
what are you meant to do? Is the question.
What are you meant to do? You meant to stop cheating. Is what you meant to stop doing, Sean. In fact, guys, we've still got an assault down here. You still want to try and charge in here, don't you? You mustn't forget that one.
No, these guys shot.
Oh, they shot, of course they did. Yeah, okay, so that's it. So we do still have an assault down here though, so I'll try and see whether I can kill his warlord, which is pretty hard going. If I roll really, really hot though, you never know. So we'll see what happens, and we'll come back to you at the end of that little assault. Right guys, so I gambled.
Rolled one, didn't he?
Yes, I did. I rolled a 1. So we gambled for a stomp, not for a stomp, for a smash, because I wanted to try and take out his warlord. He probably would have looked out Sir, but that would have given me an easy kill point on his destroyer.
How many turns is this? Is he in combat?
He's been in combat for a long time.
Can I be honest, right? These, oh Jesus, John, I've broken the wind.
It's alright, he's magnetized.
This Dominus has never done anything for me. He's never killed anyone
He doesn't kill anything.
If he kills this guy's a hero.
He's not going to kill him.
He's an absolute hero. I have a feeling in my waters.
Yeah, you keep your waters to yourself. Well, we're going to Tyranid turn 5 and see what happens. Right guys, so end of turn 5 for the Tyranids. So frustrating turn. So the Tyranids, even though we've very much on top majority of this game, this warlord just hanging on in there is absolutely a bane in my side. So I just cannot kill him. I've been smashing the last 2 turns because if I can instant kill him, even if he looks out Sir, that means I get I kill a unit there. So it's been the best chance, but both times I rolled a 1 on the first turn, a 2 on the second turn. So really, really poor going there.
3 on the third turn?
No, from no 3 on the third turn. So on that turn I took the objective over there. And I'll come to the ground, or I haven't come to the ground, I flew over here to try and got Psychic Shriek off. Didn't really do anything there at all. Took a wound on a robot, that was it. Warlord's over there sitting pretty, but it's other than that, at the moment, as it stands, Sean is winning the primary, which is kill points. He's winning that 5-2 currently, and I am winning the secondary, which is the Maelstrom points. And from a tertiary at the moment we are drawing with tertiary because he has line breaker, I have lane breaker, there was no first strike and there's currently no warlord, so we will draw that. So overall the way the scoring works in SM battle reports is that in the no retreat tournament is the primary is worth more than any other points, so you have to, if you're going to draw the game against primary, is you have to win the other 2 missions. So you have to take both the tertiary, which I would need to obviously kill the warlord, and you need to obviously take that Maelstrom points as well. So hopefully that
strike is so big at this event.
Yeah. So I mean, as I said, that's kind of where we stand at the moment. So Sean will take it by default if the game ends now. So Sean, do you want to roll that game?
Oh, 3, it goes on.
And the game goes on for another turn, so we'll see what happens as we go into Admech turn 6. Right guys, it's been an epic struggle and we are now going into the last turn. I'll quickly recap both turns from that because it's really, really quick. So basically, obviously the robots were in assault. These guys here were still over here. So my Morlock came in to take that objective to score that. The Flyrant flew over here, shooting into the back of the Knight, not doing any damage. Obviously my Warlord's over there in cover. This guy who was down on the ground jumped forward and tried to get into the assault, failed my charge. I then did manage to bring down the last destroyer, but I've only got 1 wound left though, that's the only problem. So I need this turn to take out that warlord. If I take out that warlord, you know, that is good, but we'll see. I've got 2 turns crack at it, and then we've got to see whether we can do anything to the big guys, but it's looking pretty grim. I don't think I can pull it off. It's very, very difficult, but we'll see what happens as we go into turn 7. Right guys, end of the turn, full turn 7 and end of the game, and it couldn't be any closer. So game. Yeah, it was a very good game. Yeah, I mean, absolute epic right to the end. So I missed those 3 hits, 3 turns running, to try and take out his warlord, but I stuck it on the 7th turn. I've got it through, rolled the wound, and then Sean didn't manage to pass his invuln, so the warlord was instant killed. That gave me the warlord, which obviously would have given me D3 Maelstrom as well, which would only been 1 to be fair, but that's still, I won the Maelstrom clearly with 7-5, something like that.
Yep.
7-5, but Sean kills me on the primary. In the end, there was an opportunity for me to take it back if I'd managed to take out the knight with the Morlock, which was a big ask, so I needed to smash.
Double 6 for the stomp.
Yeah, and then he double six
That'd have been brutal if you had a big unit in there. That'd have been delete.
Yeah, he had the
dice,
last
changed
there.
the dice, the old stolen dice came back.
Yeah, he absolutely turned it around, and to be fair...
John, check that out, look.
You little scumbag. He's already nicking my dice, guys.
I've got 3, dude. You'd never have noticed.
No, I know. Put them back. Put them back. So in the end, actually, it was quite close. I could have potentially taken it. So I gambled it to try and go for the full win to try and take the knight out. And if I'd taken the robots out, which are so resilient, it could have been there. Maybe if the Turvagun had made it into combat.
That's what changed the whole game.
Yeah, the Manifold, these guys. Yeah, absolutely. So in the end, but so overall, the way the scoring works is I won the secondary and I won tertiary, but Sean takes the primary, which is the key one.
It's my dead pile.
And I've got like, dead piles everywhere. So yeah, so in all, it worked out that it was an exact draw. So we drew totally, which I think is a fair result. I took the beginning part of the game. Sean definitely edged it second half of the game, but overall a draw is a fair result. Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Sean, if you had Ignores cover on some of that stuff? Do you think it would have made a difference?
But this is the question. Do I go with a unit of 3 Castellan robots, which if they cause a wound would be good, but then I suppose having those robots are so good, just being able to keep them around. I don't know.
I think it's a good list.
Should have kept them out of combat, shouldn't I?
Yeah,
that's what I should have done.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's anything else I could really add in there.
I mean, kill points is your game, isn't it? I mean, this is your game.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah.
This is your game. So, how would you down on like a lot of objectives? You've got very few models, haven't you? That's your only problem.
Yeah, I think that Melantrop, like I'd never have killed you guys if you'd have castled for 2 turns and just shot me. Yeah. I think you'd have.
I was never going to play that game though. Also,
that's how you'd win it, isn't it?
I suppose, but you want Maelstrom because still want to try and take that Maelstrom points. But anyway, that's just not the way I play. As you know, guys, I have the bloodlust and I want to kill, which is quite often brings my downfall. But this one we'll take a draw. So thanks very much, Sean. Hopefully we'll see more of you on the channel very soon. But until the next time, guys, thanks for watching. See you later. Bye for now.